Hey folks, it's Ben from eXplorminate and welcome back to this Let's Play series of Shadow Empire. We're playing on a lava planet this time and it's been quite an interesting mission. I'm just going to dismiss that. So, let's take a look at where we are so far. We are currently trying to line some forces up on the border of Morbihan. Now, I'm not expecting that I want to go to war with them anytime soon. But unless there is a significant warming in our relationships, we are going to be at war. They're currently in a blackmailing mood, and I'm not going to be giving them anything they want. So they've got what looks to be a significant tech advantage on me. Culture level is also bigger, and they're relatively popular too. Now, the reason why they're doing this is because I'm very, very close to their border. I think this is the reason why they're upset with me, is because I took the opportunity to roll back the territory when I took whoever, I forget the name. It wasn't the Jura, but it was it might have. It wasn't the Jura. It was another one of these groups. It might have been the Radalar or one of these, but I used a tactic that the AI also uses, and I don't really have a name for it yet, but basically what they do is, and the AI makes liberal use of this tactic, by the way. Let's say we've got a border here, okay, and let's say that this is our border with a major faction. What will happen is you might find that there's a little bit of sort of no man's land here that doesn't belong to anybody. It's non-aligned territory, and enemies will spawn in there, or they will at least be lurking in there. So what happens is you'll have the AI, the AI will attack these guys and push them back into your territory. Now they will take your territory and expand, and expand this no man's land out, and then the AI follows in and pushes their borders back. Now they will do this. They will do this aggressively. So like I've had let's say I've had an empire sort of this kind of big, as in our borders here. Like I've had the AI do this, and they will take out a huge chunk of your territory by gradually pushing these AI these non-aligned forces back and using it to take more territory from you. It's really clever how they do that. I mean, I think the thought behind that is, well, if you can't protect your borders, we will, that kind of thing. So I think this is one of the reasons why Morbihan are upset with us, and they're currently trying to blackmail us. So yeah, there's not a lot we can do there. I think unless we've got some way, unless they come to us with some kind of diplomatic arrangement and they have a change of heart, I think we're destined for a war of sorts. I mean, we're going to be in a Cold War now anyway. Elsewhere, the plan was to start building up our private assets. We do have a demand that we've agreed to do, which was, we've got 12 rounds left, and we're trying to raise our civilization level. Now we're also trying to raise our private assets. We've got 9 rounds left for this particular job. So what we want to do is start putting a little bit of money into the float for the private sector to spend. So that's something we need to look at. Everywhere else, we've got solid borders on this side. This huge area here, we've got a solid border with. Now, this is Loza area. I should be taking this, really. Like another thing I will say is, I don't know if I mentioned this in this series before, but in my first couple of games that I played through of this, the AI factions were really tame, to the point where I was a little bit like the minor regimes, I should say. Sorry, I just want to that's the caveat. The minor regimes weren't that strong, and I was like, these guys are kind of just like mini roadblocks, really, and I'm just taking huge swathes of land off them. And so is the AI major regimes. In my most recent offline game, I came up against a faction of slavers, and man, they've got a lot of units. Like, I mean, a lot. And I think I've been fighting them for about 30 or 40 turns, and we're still going because there's a huge mountain ranger between us, and I just haven't got the supply to be able to get through. And they're just lined up like rows and rows of them, defense in depth, with all these bikers and buggies and all sorts of like crazy crazy Mad Max type guys. Like, so it's really cool. You do not be fooled. Some of the minor factions are really easy. Like the farmer factions they just don't have much in the way of a force to defend themselves. But some of the other factions minor factions can actually be a real headache. And I am lucky in that game that I've got a huge mountain range blocking them, because if it wasn't for that, they would have rolled over me, like, seriously. So yeah, anybody who's kind of been watching and been a bit like, oh, you know, the minor regimes, they don't really seem that strong, just be careful, because they can be really, really powerful. And you know, that situation took me by surprise. Okay, so we've got some decisions to go through this turn, so let's look through them. Zircon Lord found unusual companion. Oh, okay, so this is where they want our governor wants to take a civilian with them. Now let's just have a look at where we're at with our regime. Allowing them is going to give us commerce and fists, and also raise everybody's happiness. I think that might be a good idea to go for. Commerce is always going to be useful, although we're not going to drop political points down either. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for that. We're also raising fist, but fist is useful too. So. Okay, the DP faction would appreciate if you would take a candidate of ours into your service. I'd like to look now when I'm doing this, just to see whether I need, not only whether I need a new faction member, but whether it's a faction that I want to be strengthening. The DP of the Democratic Party, they're democracy in heart, and each of the factions will have a power base. They'll have voters basically in certain areas. So for example, these guys are strong in the zone administration, but they don't have any power. They've got one guy basically who's a governor, but they haven't got anyone else anywhere else. Now if you look here with the reformist army, they're very, very strong in the military hierarchy, so we have to keep our military happy in order for these guys to be happy, which makes sense because they're basically another autocratic fist sort of group. Autocratic Fist, it sounds like a metal band from the 80s, doesn't it? Then we've got the Justice Knights, who are they've got relatively weak, well, they've got a weak power base, so they won't have many votes across any of these sectors particularly, which is unsurprising. They've only got 22% of the vote. So do I want to take somebody from a rival party, particularly one that is going in the opposite direction to what we want? I mean, they're democratic in heart. You have to consider this when you're taking these taking these people. The other thing to consider will be how many leaders you've got. Do I have any in the reserve? Yes, I do. I've got 3. Why is Lyra Ironsight in the reserve? I was juggling these guys around, wasn't I? What was it I was juggling Lyra Ironsight around to do? I've forgotten now. I should have watched the previous video before I started. I'm sure it will come up to me in the org decisions. I know there was a reason why I did that, and I think it must have been because okay, this might be it. We've got the option to do another foreign affair. I'm gonna accept this person now. Strengthening the Democratic Party. I don't really want to do that actually, but well, it might be worth it. And you have to gamble to see whether you're actually going to get a good leader from it. So let's go to the reserve. Who did we get? It's this person here, Biff Etherlove. He's just a capability class 1, which isn't great. Not bad interpersonal. Intelligence isn't bad either. And improvisation is a skill that they just use. It allows them to add a bonus to certain dice rolls. So that can be a handy little skill because it gives them a little bit of a jack of all trades kind of vibe to them. All right. Now, do we want to add foreign affairs, interior council, or applied science? Interior council will allow us to start generating stratagem cards that will for things like better leaders, which is we need that. We're relying so far on the Supreme Council, on the Supreme Leader Council, and their cards are not only expensive, but they're also not that great. So the Interior Council might be good if we want to get some better leaders. Applied Science Council is a research council that gives you access to some of the more exotic technologies, and some of them, you'll see these applied. So you've got applied chemistry and you've got applied engineering, but there's also applied management, and there might be some others. No, I think that's it. Now, there's two different types of technology in this game. There is the binary techs and you've got the linear techs. So the binary techs work in a way where you discover them, and then once you've made the discovery, then you have to pump research into them to actually get them. Now you'll see here, solar energy has got 40. We've got 40% of it researched, right? And when it gets to 100, you research it and you get access to that technology. Not so with the linear techs of the applied engineering and applied chemistry, etc. These, some of them are linear techs. Now, what linear techs means is that you put spending into them and you get an immediate benefit to whatever it is that you're going for. So let's say conventional small arms or optimization. This technology allows you to construct more punch-packing small arms against soft targets. However, at some point this might increase the amount of ammunition used. Okay, so what happens is the more research you put into this, the more benefit you get, and it basically just makes the soft attack of all your units better. But the amount of spending research points that you have to put in increases as it goes up towards 100. So the last sort of 20, 30, 20, 10 points are very, very expensive, and it takes a lot of research to get to 100. Like a lot. So you have to be careful with these, because I've had it before where I've left my Applied Sciences Council researching one of them, and then I've forgotten about it for like 30 turns, and then I've realized, hang on a minute, what are those guys doing? And I've come back and they've got like they've got to like 80 or 90 on here, so I'm really, really powerful in soft attack, but kind of neglected everything else that I really need. So okay, so that was a bit of an aside. So we've also got foreign affairs, which is going to give us more espionage-based stuff, and that's going to give us more diplomatic actions with foreign councils. Now, that's also going to be important. All three of these are really important, and I think, honestly, we're probably better off picking from one of these two. I might go with the foreign affairs council first. The next time that we pick one of these councils, it's going to be even more expensive. We've got riots in Iseron. Now this is the province up here, or the zone up here we just took. We have, how many men have we got here in Iseron? Let's just check. Yeah, we've got a fair amount of men. We've got a fair amount. I'm gonna just put some more in just this turn. I'm gonna put those guys in there. It's only 100 men, but it's everything you can get in there is good when you make one of these rolls. So we can either give them some money to boost democracy. We can try to make an oratory roll, which we're going to fail because the difficulty is 166 and the maximum we can get is 150. And the most obvious, the sort of most attractive thing for me is going to be autocracy here. So I'm going to go for that. So 5,000 soldiers are confronting 1,000 rioters. Our troops succeeded in containing the rioters. So we added fear points, but we lost. We will have prevented unrest. Now, both unrest and fear cause problems with your city's growth and production. But their fear, once that the higher fear goes up, the more problems you get too. However, both fear and unrest will gradually decrease over as the turns go on. So if you look here, you've got unrest here. Sorry, I've changed my tooltip so that I have to right click, so I sometimes forget. So unrest level is 56, but if you see it says unrest diminished with 4 points due to time. It diminished 18 points due to 5,100 troops, and it diminished 6 points due to fear. So fear, actually, the higher your fear, the more unrest diminishes, because people are frightened, because you've been kicking people's doors in and taking away dissenters. Fear also causes problems, but it diminishes separately, and these don't stack. So they are separate. So you can use liberal use of autocratic methods in order to reduce unrest. And honestly, you're better off, I think at least, you're better off with fear than you are with unrest. Because if your unrest goes to a certain point, then you start getting rebellions. And rebellions are time consuming and you know they're just difficult to deal with. What happens is somebody will pop, you know, one of your leaders will disappear, often with, you know, with some troops, and they'll appear someone like here, like in these mountains, and then you've got to go into these mountains and start fighting them, sieging them, all that kind of stuff. And while you're doing all that, you're not doing the stuff that you need to be doing. So it's actually a real problem. So a little bit of fear keeps the rebellion away. Okay, waste disposal incident in Iceron. Okay, do we want to spend some PP in order to give some extra bonuses? We're going to get plus 120, or we can not spend PP. We're not lacking on PP, so okay. We got a little increase for danger, but that's no problem. And we've got some rebels. Okay, so we are actually getting... There is going to be a rebellion here anyway. Rebels are deploying in Iceron. I'm trying to make it as difficult as possible and to disrupt the flow of their recruits from urban settlements to their assembly zone. Can I count on your support to disrupt their deployment? So if we give them full support, then you know, there'll be less rebels to fight. Military advisors requested. This is from Odessa Federation. Yeah, let's raise autocracy there, and it also raises our level with Odessa Federation too. Finally, we've got a new commander for the 3rd Machine Gun Infantry Brigade. Now, I moved Lyra Ironsight for a reason. Why did I move her? She was moved for a reason. I'm trying to remember why. Did I want her somewhere else? Oh, damn my poor memory. And we've got 2 other people. Let's just get rid of her for a sec. You're going to spend a few political points to get rid of this person, and it's going to cause some relationship loss with the faction. Who's this? This guy is good at trade. He's also got some ability with warfare, but he's better in technical. He's got a higher technical rating. Did I want him for something? I mean, she's going to be better for an infantry brigade. Yeah, let's get her in. It might... Lyra Ironsight, she might have been one of my governors, actually. Okay, so do you remember me saying that there's going to be a rebellion? It's here. And it's landed just on our road. Now, fortunately, it's not our only road, but we need to deal with this problem pretty quickly, because the longer we leave it, the worse it'll get. So we immediately need to start sending some troops out now to face this problem. So let's get, like we see, we've got some recon on it now. Let's get that guy down there. Do you need to leave some in the... I need to leave enough units to defend against any further rebellions as well. I think if I can, I'd like to raise an independent formation here, so we've got a better unit. So let's see if we can do that. No, we don't have any. What's the problem? Is it men? No, I think it's probably going to be this logistical points is the problem. Okay, so where can we raise some men? We might be able to raise some here. Yeah, we can raise an independent infantry battalion. That will do it. Motorbikes would also be really useful, and I like motorbikes because motorbikes are fun. So let's get them. I've just developed those. Now, motorbikes are really good for recon. If we just take a quick look at them. Let's have a look. First independent motorbike battalion, designated bikers, and they've got recon 7, which is 7 times more than your average infantryman. They've also got a good soft attack and defense, and they've got a decent hard attack. Well, not decent hard attack and defense, but it's, you know, it could be worse basically. So they're basically like infantrymen, but they require fuel, and they've got really good recon. I make judicious use of bikers in this game, particularly on maps like this where you've got lots of open terrain. They're like an early game. They're a really good early game motorized unit, and I kind of prefer them to motorized units in this. This is something that Daz Tactic's been saying in his on the forums, that he's not really that keen on motorized units, because you'll see if we go to independent to an independent battalion. Let's say we want to raise a motorized infantry battalion. You need 2,000 men and you're still only getting 1,000 infantry. 1,000 of those men are driving 100 motorized trucks. So you are getting a big speed boost when you're not using a strategic move. So they do move quickly, and anybody who's played a war game will be able to tell you how important motorized infantry are, particularly when you're supporting an armored advance. If you're using a blitzkrieg tactic, or you want something fast to get around let's say that we wanted to get around the side of Morbihan commune here. Let's say if they had an undefended area here, we could leave a line of infantry and artillery here, and then we could have some armored units go around the side. Now Morbihan might have some forces here. So what we would want is we'd bring our armoured units around the back, hit them from behind, and then we'd bring some really fast motorised units and set up an infantry line here in some terrain or something. So motorised infantry are really important, but they just cost a lot of men. It's the manpower that's the problem usually. Motorbikes don't have that problem, but they don't have all the tools that are at your disposal with a motorized brigade. So for example, here we've got the option of motorized infantry and motorized machine guns. Now machine guns are much more powerful in defense. So if we look at, I don't think we can look at them here. I'll show you another one of the useful report screens. So if we go to the models overview and look at one of our machine gun models that we created, here's a zero gun. So if we go to more info, and you can see here machine guns have got 89 in soft defense. That's much better than it's better than the motorbikes, but they're not very good in attack, but they're really good in defense. But let's say that we had an even better machine gunner, or we had an RPG trooper, which has got a hard attack value. They might be something that you would want on a mobilized unit, a motorized unit, sorry, which the motorcycles don't have. Okay, let's move these walkers. I might move these walkers back. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry, guys. Let's just move these walkers back to go to engage these. I'd like to deal with this rebellion as quickly as possible. We're likely to get a few more rebellions over the turns as well. What I'm going to do with these motorbikes, I'm going to bring them up here. I wonder if we've got enough research, enough points here. No, not quite. Where else could we build some formation? Yeah, we could have one here. Look, we could build an infantry battalion. I just want to get some more men into here. I think that would be really important. No, we can't quite get them there. Okay, so this is a good place. So we can actually build an infantry battalion here. And these infantry battalions, right? Once you've used them, these independents, you don't have to leave them as independents. You're not stuck with them all the time. You can just send them back to the HQ once they've done their job, and then you can add those soldiers with a little bit of experience, hopefully, into new formations. It's just such a great game when it comes to customization of your forces. It's just I love it so much. It's great. These guys, where were these going? Well, we can't go into Lozo area. We've got Montador here, which I think we've also got an agreement with. Yeah, I was perhaps hoping to bring them up here, so let's move these guys across. We might be a bit too slow to be able to deal with this issue here, but that's okay. And we've got this. This is the 2nd Machine Gun Infantry Brigade. These guys were just moving up, I believe. Yeah, we're bringing these guys up in order to be able to deal with, or at least to put some men on the border here. We're going to need a lot of troops on this border. The problem is with this situation with Morbihan is, one, there is so much open ground here. It's going to be hard to defend. We are going to need, depending on what they're fielding, at first we just need lots of machine guns. Later on we're going to need some anti-tank guns, or something like assault guns. Something like that, just that we can use as anti-armor, because we haven't got any natural terrain advantage around here. So they could storm through with tanks, and we need to be really careful of that. If we were on the other side of these mountains, it wouldn't be such a problem. But Jura's relatively, well, we've got this sea here, that's okay, and we've got these mountains here, so we could put some defensive formations in these mountains, and they'll be very hard to dislodge. But we'd have to defend this area here and this area here. We'll come to that later. So just move the rest of our units where we wanted to move them. Okay, these guys need more supply, so let's bring them back into supply. We've got a militia unit here. They just need to stay there and get some more supply, I think. Let's just move them down a little bit further. Resupply, and then I'm going to try and send them out and do some more scouting. What's happening over here? Nothing. Okay, that's most of our units moved. Oh, I think we've got these units here too. These guys are also out of supply, so let's move these recon trucks back into supply. This is Radalar territory. I'm really look. See, I'm following the Radalar units into Morbihan. They're really not going to like this, but that's exactly what they do to you, and it's an effective way of taking territory from them. So I don't see it as an exploit. I don't think it's really an exploit. I think it's just, you know, you're basically they're allowing these kind of post-apocalyptic remnants, let's call them, just kind of roam about and do their subway punk stuff, and we kind of, you know, we're just sort of taking the Morbihan's territory by proxy, I guess. Okay, yeah, let's move these guys into supply here. Might be worth just extending this road a little. We've got a little bit to spare, so let's extend this road out, just so we can get a bit more supply to some of these guys out this direction. We've got some men at Jura. I'll leave those there. Oh, we've got a lot of men at Jura. What are they? Okay. This is the 10th Machine Gun Infantry Battalion. Are they part of the 3rd? Yes, they're part of the 3rd Machine Gun Infantry. I'm going to change the colour of these guys. I just can't really... Yeah, that colour they've chosen is not great. Let's try that. Yeah, it's a little bit more... It's easier to see. Yeah, that blue colour is a little bit easier to see. Okay. I need to top these troops up too. We've got plenty of troops. The issue is, I think, that we're not able... I think the SHQ is struggling to get those troops up. Let's just have a look. We go to the HQs. HQ News. I don't know if it's in here, actually. It might be in the urgent issues. Yep. First SHQ is problems sending replacements to units, right? So what that means is we've not got enough logistics to be able to send these troops from the SHQ over to where they're needed. It might be worth bringing this group back down, although I do want to start getting them up here. I think what I'll do is I'm going to move them up anyway, and we will worry about replenishing them later. Let's get them over. There we go. So we'll move these guys, and we're gonna form a defensive line. These are a machine gun infantry battalion, and this is their job. They're a multi-purpose unit. Mostly they're good for defense, but they can, because they've got some regular troopers as well. They're not stuck just defending like an independent machine gun battalion would. Okay. We're about done now. Now we need to start looking at building our assets. So I'm going to do what the game advised, and I don't know if you might have seen the message snap up at the beginning, but it basically advised me to start putting some money into the public budget. Now we've already got some in there, so I might just put a little bit more in, and if we start really running low, then I'll drop it back down again. Just see if there's anything else we can change. The recruit sign-up bonus is okay. We don't want any more than 1,000 troops a turn. We've got, well, I would like to get more troops. Somebody in the comments asked me why, they suggested perhaps beginning to start a new city in one of these areas where it's quite a long way away from our existing city. Now, the reason why I'm not doing that right now is because we just don't have enough people. It takes quite a long time and a lot of colonists to start a new town or a new village, and it's really difficult to get them going. and you're really reducing the growth of the zones that you've got. So whilst we are taking an administrative load penalty on anything that's over six hexes away, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So this, for example, this mine here, this will probably be, although this is privately owned, so it's not a big problem, but there will be an administrative load penalty for this. I don't know if it will say this for a privately owned asset, but certainly anything that we wanted to build. 1 2 3 4 5. So this is one of ours, and I don't think there's a problem on here, but let's say it was out here, there definitely would be an issue. Like, for example, these artifacts we want, this will be a really important thing for us to get. It's going to be a bit awkward to get a road in. I think we'll have to go all around the houses. Yeah, there we go. So that might be worth doing, although we haven't quite got enough points this turn. But yeah, we've not only got radioactives on this tile, but there's also artifacts there, and artifacts give you some really cool little stratagem cards, usually high technology additions to your units and to your leaders. So yeah, so that's why I'm not going to immediately start building new more cities. It's just, sorry, that's what I'm looking for. We've got 1 2 3, and we're probably going to start taking some of this non-aligned force area. We're probably going to go for one of these guys as well eventually, because we need to expand out away from these guys. They're going to be I'm pretty sure these are going to be too strong for me to take, and at least until I've learned the combat mechanics a little bit more, I'm really I'm not going to stand much chance taking Morbihan. I know it looks like easy pickings, and if we had a lot of troops now, we could probably send them in quickly, but they've got the ability to be able to defeat us. So okay, I just want to see if there's anything we can build in our main cities. Let's just remove that and that. Industry 2 would be good. We've got the metal for it. The problem is it will start draining our power big time. Now, somebody else in the comments suggested that we are about to start suffering power shortages, and by God, are they right? Let me just have a look to see where we're going with our technology. So we haven't got solar energy yet, and we haven't got power plant either. Power plant's great, but the problem with power plant is that power plants guzzle fuel, and I don't know how much fuel there is on this planet. There's only what we can scav. I can't see anything anywhere. I don't think this planet's going to have it, like in any great quantities. If it is, it's buried, and I can't find it yet. Let's just. One thing we can do is we can have a look at the trade report. Yeah, so there is fuel being traded. Yeah, there is fuel being traded, but it doesn't look like it's in large amounts. So if we just go to the trade and ask to buy fuel, they've only got 191 available. So that is my suspicions confirmed. There is no fuel on this planet that's easy to get in large quantities. That means that we're at the moment we're relying on getting it out of these hexes, these ruins, and they have a limited amount of fuel that you can take using your scavenger assets. Excuse me. So these recycling plants. The recycling plant at level 2 gets 60 fuel. It's really not a lot, but this is what we are relying on. And there are other ways of getting fuel as well. There's a biofuel building that we can build. Oh, excuse me. I think we can actually build that now. Biofuel Refinery. I think you start with this technology, and this allows you to convert food into fuel, but at a very, not at a great rate, and it also takes energy. So 400 fuel a turn, sorry, 400 food a turn in replace, and you're getting 200 fuel. So I had this problem in my other game. I really needed power, which meant, and I didn't have any fuel, which meant I had to build more farms, which were even further draining my power. And then, in order to build the food so that I could get the oil, or the fuel, so that I could run my power stations. So you're suddenly starting to bloat out your economy, and it's all stuff that you've got to build, and it's all taking away from your military effort. Okay, we are also drastically low on food, and I want to know why. Let's go to the management screen, and this is an asset screen. I've not really used this very much, and I'm starting to get into using it. So basically, at a glance, it tells you what's going on everywhere in your zone. And you can look through different zones to see what you've got there. So you might have seen me in previously in this game, kind of, you know, clicking on a zone and then looking through these buttons here. This is a waste of time doing it. It's useful in certain respects if you just want to look at something quick, but you're much better off going into the this screen, and it's called the asset management window. So it tells you at a glance everything that's in Richter Snow. Also, let's look at one of these cards. So if we click on the metal mine, we've got all the options that we can use on the main map screener here. So we can change the production output, we can mothball it or close it if we want. We can delegate it to a different zone if it's generating administrative penalties, administrative load penalties. There's a bunch of buttons here that we can use to filter it. So we can filter it by by the public assets, by private assets, all the food stuff. This one's mining assets, energy assets, industrial assets, quality of life, logistics, hex feats, and then delegated and tasked assets. Okay, so there's all these different filters we can use to, especially when you've got a large zone with lots of stuff in, that's going to be useful. Let's say let's look at our metal mine. Here in the top corner, this lets you know whether it's active or not. So if we mothball it, it will turn yellow, and if we close it, it's going to turn red. Now I think closing will just shut it down completely, so it will disappear. Mothballing means that you just stop using it, and it won't take any of the resources that it usually takes. So the upkeep costs it won't cost any upkeep. But we don't want to do that. But yeah, so at a glance you can see whether they're mothballed or closed. Then here, this little indicator here is how much production it's outputting, and here is the upkeep that is going into it. So you can look at a glance if anything is not getting the amount of upkeep that it needs. So for example, what's going on with this agri-zone? Well, it's damaged. So we've got damage to one of our agri-zones here. Let's double click on it. I'm looking in the map. Where was that? At Nosemon. Whereabouts is Nosemon? I'm not sure if you can, if there's a way of zooming to stuff by clicking on it. I don't think there is. No. I'm not. If there is, I'm not sure how to do that. But let's just go back to the management screen anyway. So yeah, here we can actually see that this particular place is damaged. So we need to fix that, or allow it to be fixed. So this is not going to be producing anything. It might be that this is something that we're actually currently building. In fact, that makes sense. This is Endura, so it's not this one. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. You can usually see the one. Oh, there we are. Ah. This is something we've just taken from Morbihan. They're going to be upset about that. We've just sneakily taken one of their well, it's a dome farm, Agridome 2, which is a lot of food. Wow, these guys have really done us a favour. We're putting pressure on Morbihan, and I mean, this is only going to have the effect of making them want to go to war with us quicker, I think. Well, anyway, that's so yeah. So you can see this management screen, and this is really useful. It's much quicker to look through here for things that you want to find. I'm not sure if I'd like to see a way, if you can. What's the preview? Oh, okay. So there's also this preview view as well. I need to look at this and find out what it is. And you can expand and collapse this kind of rundown of what each zone is producing too. Not only what it's producing, but what it's using too, I think. So the current SHQ inventory. You've got the predicted zone inventory after the SHQ is delivered. Man, there's so much information in this game, and these tooltips are brilliant. The amount of industrial points available at the SHQ, how many industrial points is produced by this particular zone, yeah, how much the SAQ is picking up. It's all the logistics of everything is detailed, and it's broken down here so you can really get into the nitty gritty of the management. If you're getting problems and you can't figure out why, then you can go into that zone. You can go into that screen, sorry, and expand that out and just find out what it is. I wonder if here we would actually be able to see why it is that we can't. Our recruits aren't moving. Oh no, that might be something different. Anyway, you get the idea. There's loads of info at your fingertips. All right, wow, we've only just done one turn and we're 40 minutes into the video, so we probably should roll the turn on. I think we've done everything we need to do. Yeah, it looks like it has. Yes, this Let's Play is probably one of the slowest Let's Plays I've ever done, but it's just the way it goes. I think it's worth showing off some of the stuff in this game. I'm interested to see how this situation with the Morbihan commune plays out now. We killed 400 infantry and we lost 100. We've discovered APC. We've got some stratagems generated as usual. The zones of the first SHQ do not have a public asset yet that's producing industrial points. Okay, so it's just recommending that we build some IP related stuff. I completely agree. Our food's going up. I wonder if that's because we've just taken this place. No, it won't be, because we've not got a road linked to it. Now we could use this, and there's no reason why we shouldn't. There we go. We've just built a road, so I mean, that's really going to upset the Morbihan, but I don't care. I mean, you know, they're not our friends. So yeah, we won't be getting enough logistic points to be able to use that. We need to get 100 logistic points in there to be able to use that food production plant. But I mean, this is a nice little bonus that we've got. Before we go any further, let's just find out where that battle was. It was here. They were trying to break this blockade. It was 200 rifle militia, and they were attacking our sentinel, which was the stupidest thing they could have done. Oh, there was one more battle by the looks of it. Just bear with me. And there was a battle here too. So we lost 100 rifle militia, and they lost 200. That was these non-aligned forces up the top here. We are well out of supply, so we need to get back and get some supply. All of these guys are well out of supply. Let's move them back. We're going to have to build some roads out here with some supply if we're going to deal with this situation. Oh, now the reason why they were out of supply is because these rebels are sat on our supply line. That's why. This is a problem. So these got some, but why didn't these? I wonder why these didn't pick up any. Let's go and have a look at the use points. Yeah, so they picked up a few from here, but there were loads of initial points. Why didn't they? That's weird. I would have thought they would have picked up more. I mean, there's current points sat there. I think what it is, I know what it is. It's the all the food is coming from the SHQ, or whatever it is that they're lacking. It all comes from the SHQ. So they're not taking food from this area here. This is sending food and ammo, etc., all the way down to the SHQ, and then the SHQ is sending it all the way back via this road. So this is why all my men are now out of supply, and they are out of supply by, yeah, it's food is the problem. We need to clear this roadblock fast. So let's go through our decisions quickly. So a director for the Foreign Affairs Council. This guy, not so good. This guy's not so good either. It's saying Wubbo Lewis is the best person purely because he's just got a higher technical rating and interpersonal skills. So yeah, it's going to have to be him.
Roger that.
Supreme Command Council task priorities. I'll just leave it 50-50 at the moment. We're getting enough political points, I think. Foreign Affairs Council task priorities. I'm going to leave that 50-50 as well between the major and the minor. So basically, it splits the money that you're assigning between the major and the minor factions. Demagogue and Iceron. Do we try to arrest him? Yeah, the difficulty is 100 plus 68. Or we could try and convince him he's a fraud. No, that's not going to happen.
Yes, sir.
We were successful. We still got a little unrest. Roaming thieves in Iceron.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll give full support. We still lost a bit of food. That's no problem though. And do we upgrade our city? This is Jura up to a big town. Yes, we do. Okay. Okay, first things first. Just take a quick look around, see if there's anything I need to do urgently. Yeah, look, wow, these guys are out of supply now as well. It's not just, that's weird, that is not just, it's all of our units are not getting food. Look at this. I wonder what happened there. Yeah, all these units have got bad supply. Let's go to the HQs. Recruits and colonists have been fully fed. I think the problem is going to be the amount of food that we've got. Consume 3 or 4 food needed. So yeah, they're all starving because they're not getting enough food. So, but we're gaining food there. That's odd. I don't know if this is there's an issue with. It must be the amount of food that we're getting. I guess it must be something to do with that. Let's deal with this fast. Let's try and I don't know if this is going to be part of the problem, but it's certainly not going to help. So let's just throw these guys in en masse.
Let's go.
I don't think that these guys are going to survive. There we go.
Operation successful.
Yep. Job done. So we've now reopened our supply lines, but I don't think that's the problem. I think the issue here is that we haven't got enough food. So I wonder if we can privatize some food. Let's see. Let's go back to this screen and see if we've got any dome farms that we can take. So there's one here at Bullfrog, and we've got money to nationalize it, and this might be a good idea. This one's producing 110. I need to find out exactly where this one is. It's Richter Snow in saying it's city. So this is actually in the city itself of Richter Snow. Yeah, I am going to privatize that. Richter Snow itself has got high happiness, so we're safe to do that. It's expensive, but we are going to have more food now. So yeah, I started looking at our logistics, sorry, our infrastructure a little bit too late. So you don't want these problems. This is an example of how not to run an empire, guys. It's such a complex game though, and honestly, there's so much to think about with the the tactical situations, the strategic considerations of what's going on. With all the grand strategy side, all the relationship management, the logistics, and then you've got to start feeding. You've got to think about feeding everybody as well. You really are running an empire in this game, and this is. I can't praise this game highly enough. It's just so entertaining with all the things that you have to do. It's not a chore either. Like, none of this stuff becomes like annoying. I wish I didn't have to do that because that's an annoying management thing that I've got to do. It's all just really fun, and not everyone's going to like this game, but for the people who it does appeal to, you're going to love it. I just think, yeah, VR Designs and Matrix are onto a winner with this, and I really hope it does well because it's just such a fantastic game. Guys, I'm going to end the episode there because we've run well over because I've just been yapping as usual. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care, guys. Bye.